I'm just gonna start a new file because I want to make sure that I can keep the fisherman safe. And this is already in chapter 2, so by the time we've reached chapter 2, I've already missed an opportunity with the fisher. Oh, we can look at the gallery though a second. A new chapter. I love Miho. How about the music here? Oh, I've never actually gone and listened to all the music in here. Time Pass. Oh, so there's music I haven't listened to yet? I would expect that because I haven't done all the stuff. If I listen to this, I might cry, so maybe I won't listen to that. I love this one. See, like I'm going back and forth in my head about the music between Please Be Happy and Highway Blossoms, but like I think it's because Highway Blossoms music has a sense of familiarity to it, and it makes us like look back on our lives, particularly our childhood and our experiences with people in a generation or two behind us, you know, where that was like really big. You know, my grandmother listens to a lot of Johnny Cash, for example. So you hear that song often, and it's in relation to those older inspirational people in our lives. That's where the music choices of Highway Blossoms become kind of like enhanced for me. It's the same thing as Life is Strange. Life is Strange's music is familiar to current day problems, and they make you reflect on your own life because it is current generation music. They make you think about people in your life that you're friends with that listen to that music and current struggles. Whereas Highway Blossoms music is all about past, is the dying of the old and the beginning of something new. Whereas Life is Strange is more about like Max essentially going through a Catcher in the Rye like storyline. Max is becoming old. I mean, there's so many references. Soft character reflex. There's so many references in the first Life is Strange to Catcher in the Rye. Not only in the names, there are visual references to Catcher in the Rye. There are scenes that are references to Catcher in the Rye. And I think it's trying to make us like think about Max's journey in the same way, that it's Max maturing as she realizes that even if she has the power to turn back time, that in reality, like, nobody can fix those mistakes that you have to make. I don't know. That's my comparison between Highway Blossoms and Life is Strange. Take it as you will. We go ahead and change the stream title and everything while we're here. Right. New Juliet ending run. And let's change the category as well to Flappy Pappy Happy. And change the tags. Okay, there we go. You have a lot to say. Yeah, just the name True Colors makes you think of a coming out story, right? It's coming out and coming to terms with your own identity. So I'm not gonna ask for any spoilers on True Colors, so I'm gonna play it myself. But you can already kind of make some assumptions based off the name. And I know that, like, after Life is Strange and 1 and then, like, Before the Storm, they're excellent with musical storytelling. So I can only imagine it gets even better. Yeah. Don't want to listen to missing pages. Yeah, we're gonna do a new Juliet run. Save the fisherman, and I don't know if there's anything else that we can do that we didn't do last time. Because we got a good ending with Tommy, and we got a good ending with Lena. I suppose one thing that we could do is potentially get a different ending with Silver, maybe, or with Yumi. I'm not sure though. That's the only place where, like, there was a choice that I could have made that I did not make, was with Yumi. I know that there are 4 endings to Please Be Happy, but there are two categories of ending. There's the Juliet ending, and there's the Aspen ending, and depending on what you choose, there are 2 endings in each of those. I know that. And we got the we got the Aspen comfy ending. I don't really need to like get the other Aspen ending right now. I'd rather just go for Juliet. But yeah, so that's the plan. And we'll continue. We'll work through this on the off days between Final Fantasy. And then maybe after this we'll go back to the Highway Blossoms DLC. Yeah, this should take a little bit though. So strap in.
You'd like to tell me a story? Please, go ahead.
Hell yeah, Aspen. Fog settled over the forest, far from the villages and towns, and with it came silence. Birch trees shivered, pondering the weather, and dropped their leaves in fright. Streams bubbled, unseen by man, and babbled like the birds in the trees. In the middle of the forest was a grove, and in the middle of the grove was a log. It had been years since it had fallen, once one of the proudest trees around, and now in death was home to an abundance of life. A line of frantic ants ran to and fro. Mushrooms, cloud-like and pillowy, sprouted across one side like a footpath for fairies. Nearby, an old toad flopped contentedly in the mud. And inside the deep, damp hollow of the tree, something slept. A traveler strolled into the grove. Their steps were slow and tired, and they spotted the log with relief, like greeting an old friend. Weary from the day's journey, the traveler sat to take a rest. Whoosh. With a scrabbling of nails on rotten wood, a shadow bolted from inside the log and into the tall grass nearby. The traveler watched the brush rustle as a faint patch of fur appeared within. "Hello there, friend. I didn't mean to disturb you." They held their hand towards the grass, offering a piece of dried fish. At first there was no reaction, and then first a snout appeared, quivering as it tested the air, then followed by the rest of the fox, sleek and tawny, as she took several slow steps forward. Her amber eyes were alight with mistrust, but also with a wild curiosity. The straggler sat unfazed, the offering still outstretched. They dared to meet the fox's eyes, and in that glance felt something kindred. As the fox closed her jaws around the gift, a bond was made. "Maybe we aren't so different, you and I." The traveler returned the next day, and the day after that. Each day they brought some treat for their new friend. Each day the fox's steps grew a little more trusting. One day, when the traveler arrived, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently.
Hello, my friend. Have you been waiting long?
The fox peered up at the traveler. Her amber eyes were warm and trusting. She accepted her gift of meat, gnawing at it at the traveler's feet then and there. The traveler sat, imprinting into their mind the feeling of the wood beneath them, the clean air around them, and the tender bond of companionship.
Where is your home, little fox? Is it here in this grove? Or do you come to see me too? This will be the last time, I'm afraid. Because I'll be going home tomorrow. Home is such a small place compared to the rest of the world. Yet, it's some place I can't wait to return to. I wish I could bring you with me, little friend. I wish that you could see the world too. Your home is all around me though, isn't it? It's wherever the trees are, wherever the leaves fall. Little fox, perhaps it's you who's the more fortunate of the two of us.
All too soon, it was time for the traveler to go. As they bade goodbye to the forest and to the fox, they knew that they would not return, that they would carry the memories of them always. Next day, the fox was sitting in the clearing, waiting patiently. So it's the opening from the book.
We've now docked at Wellington Skyport. Thank you for flying with Kiwi Airlines.
Kiwi
And we
Airlines.
hope to see you again.
Intercom's announcement is muffled in the closet where I'm hiding, just like the clatter of the seatbelts and the chattering of passengers getting ready to disembark. I wiggle around impatiently, sore from the crouching in here for I don't even know how long it's been. Hours for sure. The last few minutes always feel like they take the longest. A parade of footsteps begin to pass by outside my door. It's time. Oh shit, I need to change it so it's not first playthrough, because it isn't first playthrough. It's second playthrough. I don't want to lead somebody astray. There we go. I give a wink to the shocked-looking lady that I stepped out in front of. She doesn't even have time to gasp before I'm out of her sight. Humans. They're always kind of slow. I nod at the smiling flight attendant as I pass her by, and then throw up my hood to cover my face. It's been a while since last I flew, but it doesn't seem like things have changed much. It's always been harder to sneak on than it is to sneak off. I follow the crowd to the end of the hallway and step out onto the ground. After a long stretch, I take a deep breath and savor the fresh air after being stowed away for so long. Wellington Skyport, New Zealand.
I made it!
That's my Miho. My breathless voice joins the pleasant hum of the Skyport. A few clouds drift lazily overhead, almost within arm's reach. The sound of waves rolling onto the shore is like a lullaby. It makes me want to burrow into the sand and take a nap. I love Miho. But I can't. First, I need to get out of here. And there's one more challenge ahead. Up ahead, the snaking line of passengers splits as people are funneled into a few security stations. While I'm not too far back to hear what the guards are saying, it looks like they're examining the little booklet from each traveler before letting them pass. Humans sure like processes and procedures. I definitely don't have a booklet like that. Glancing around, I hope to find another way out. An open window would work, or even an unguarded exit. I'm pretty sneaky when I need to be. Unfortunately, it looks like the only way to leave is to go through security. Without any other option, I join one of the lines and prepare myself. I'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. The line moves briskly as passengers are cleared one after the other. I'm almost at the front of the queue before I know it. As a passenger in front of me approaches the booth, I listen closely.
Good afternoon. Passport, please.
Right here. It's good to be home.
I'm sure. Welcome back.
He stamps something on the man's booklet and then hands it back to him, and he continues on out of the skyport. You know, with all the way that they describe Wellington in the entirety of the story, the peacefulness, the sereneness, the community, and like the care for people have for one another, it makes me want to go to Wellington. But like, I don't know if it's actually like that. And like, because they make it out to sound like a wonderful town to like raise kids in, with like lots of enrichment everywhere. I don't know if it's actually like that, or if it's just a product of how they sell it in the story here.
Next.
That's me. I don't know what they do to people without any papers, but I don't want to find out. I'm sure it involves lots of questions, being escorted around and other unpleasant stuff. Casually, I love the ears. Casually approaching the gate, I put on my brightest, friendliest smile while keeping a slight distance. With my breathing steady and tail calm, I'm sure to put on a convincing act.
Passport, please.
Of course.
I fumble around in my pockets, pretending to look for my passport. Miho Pog. Instead, I grab the useless, clunky phone that I've been carrying around and let it clatter to the ground at the guard's feet. As expected, he bends down to retrieve it for me.
Oh, let me get that for you.
I make a run for it, bolting ahead and rushing past the security booths as quickly as I can.
Hey, you wait!
Stop!
By the time they realize what's happened, I already have a few seconds head start. My inhuman speed combined with the natural chaos of the skyport should also buy me a bit of time. Still, I've got to get them off my tail. Dashing through the skyport doors and out to the road outside, I don't even have time to take in the city. Without stopping for a breath, I run into the narrow streets while waving between cars and shocked bystanders. Being seen by so many people like this is annoying, but it won't matter by tomorrow. Putting the thought out of my mind, I vault over a low wall and into a nearby alley and land in a crouch. Out of sight, but only for a moment. I close my eyes and relax my muscles. All the feeling disappears except a slight warmth against my neck. My secret weapon. The unremarkable looking necklace is one of my only possessions, and by far the most important. A certain one of the beads strung around my neck begins to heat up in response to my will, a soothing warmth flowing through my body. My hands and feet begin to morph first, the fur chasing up my arms and legs as they distort and shorten. The sensation was so bizarre the first few times I tried. It's amazing how it's become almost second nature by now. Closing my eyes, I let my body and head shift and turn. The face is always a little uncomfortable, my once human face changing and lengthening into a snout with some difficulty. The process complete after a few seconds, I open my eyes not as a human, but as a fox. I dart away without waiting, far quicker on 4 legs than I ever could be on 2. Obstacles like the stack of garbage cans ahead would be a pain to get past as a human, but instead I'm able to flit between the gaps without slowing down.
That's her! I know it!
Sounds like the security guard hasn't given up on me yet. I pick up the pace, running as fast as my paws will take me. This heavy lifting gets further and further away, and in just a minute or two I know I'm safe. I don't know where I am, but it's not like I knew where I was when I started running. I almost feel bad for the guy who was chasing me. He never stood a chance. Even in the crowded city streets, there's no way anyone or anything that can outrun me. The wind just wishes it could keep up with me. Comfortable that the danger's past, I slip into another alley. Once I'm sure that I'm alone, I close my eyes and concentrate on the form I want to take once more. A familiar flowing warmth runs through me again, my body stretching and deforming at my command. A few seconds later, and I open my eyes to glance at my hands.
Better luck next time.
I need like a Miho clip at some point, a Miho soundbite. But I'm not sure what I want that Miho soundbite to be. So I'm gonna be like listening. I'm gonna be listening for quick one-liners. Brushing the dust off myself, I nonchalantly stroll out of the alleyway and back into the street. The odd person walks by on this errand or another, not paying any attention to me, just the way I like it.
Left, right, past turn, left.
Mapping out my path in my head, I look for a way to the main roads. It'll be easier to get my bearings there. I pick turns at random without any real destination in mind. When I decided to make the journey to Wellington, it was pretty impulsive. I'd overheard another pair of travelers talking about it and how beautiful a city it is. With a moment now taking the scenery, I can see they weren't wrong. The streets around here seem like a mix of homes and businesses. Everything is very colorful. Even the brick walls are covered in pictures and paint. In the distance, I can see green hills that are lined with houses, as well as green hills that are completely empty. There are a lot of hills, now that I look around some. From just a few streets away, the sound of pedestrians and busy intersections floats my way. I head in its direction, taking shortcuts through yards and driveways when it's convenient. Look, we knew this was going to be a really gay game when we come to the town square and this is what it looks like, you know? I missed the part about the dogs having the understanding of their whoops. After squeezing through one last narrow side street, I finally emerge onto what looks like a main road. There's no cars here, but tons of people on foot. There are brightly colored signs and decorations on most of the buildings. In the middle of the street, there are fountains and benches and trees and all kinds of stuff. The best part is the variety of stores. When I stroll past a few of the windows and peek in, I can already tell that I'll be doing most of my shopping around here. There are stores with food, with clothes, and with just about everything else. I don't have any money on me. That isn't exactly a problem. What is a problem is that it's too crowded. Dodging a couple of security guards is one thing, but trying to escape down a busy street with lots of people could be too much even for me. I'll just have to remember where this place is and make another visit later, after all the shops are closed. Then a man in a bright coat hurries past me, talking loudly on his phone in a language I don't recognize. He's so distracted that he doesn't even notice when his wallet falls out of his pocket and onto the sidewalk. I notice, of course. Seeking an opportunity, I zip over and snatch it up, prying open the black leather pockets I find. Score. Score could be good. That could be a good one to take a soundbite of. A couple of bills in what I figure is local currency. I slide the money out and into a pocket of my jacket. By now, the man is so far up ahead he's almost out of my sight. I have to hurry up to catch him to give him back his wallet, and he barely even says thank you.
I should have just kept the whole thing.
I love the ears, man. I've said this probably 25 times over my entire first playthrough. I love the ears. It's only fair that I get a little something for myself, since it's not like he would have ever gotten it back without me. It is warranted. I head back to my bench and inspect my prize. A blue bill and a brown one. These feel sturdy, nothing like paper I expected.
1, 0, 10, and 5. So 15.
This right here would be a perfect sound bit for if I ever was able to get like exactly 1500 bits. But I don't know how to set that up yet because I'm actually, well, I do know how to set it up. I don't know how to set it up for if you get an exact number. That's the only thing. But, you know, I didn't have affiliate when I started this game, so 15 isn't much. I definitely should have kept the whole wallet. I don't have any sound bites, actually. And I've been thinking about that a little bit the past couple of days. Like, should I get a sound bite? The normal soundbite is pretty unintrusive, you know, for like follows, subs, etc. And I don't want anything in my stream to be too terribly intrusive except for the barrage, but that's 3,000 bits. And the ASMR, which is 10,000, not 3,000 bits, sorry, 3,000 channel points. It's not $30. Holy shit, I'd be a jackass if it was $30. And ASMR, which is 10,000 channel points. Basically, I don't want anything too intrusive on stream. But a very basic sound bit isn't too bad. You know, I don't think people enjoy when there's like blaring alerts for everything on stream. And like lots of stuff going on constantly. It detracts from like what is being done or talked about on stream. I don't know. Oh well, at least this should be enough to buy myself something to drink. My thirst is starting to get the better of me. Oh, I feel that all the time, Miho. I feel that all the time. I haven't had a single hydrate in the past 3 hours. I haven't had anything since I snuck onto the airship. Following my nose, I walk down the busy street until I find one of the many cafes lining the path. It's not that kind of thirst, Vina. Well, I've got that kind of thirst right now. There we go. I just gulped down half a water bottle. 250 milliliters. Just for you. The sign hanging above its front door has a picture of a bell on it. It's Taco Bell. A charming bell rings out from above the door as I enter. I can't help but savor the wave of refreshing, cool air washing over me, which feels even better after so much running.
Hiya! Welcome to the Bell House.
Them ass wings, though. The barista behind the counter is the only other person in the store right now. As I nod in greeting, she leans forward with a cup in one hand and a pen in her other.
What can I get you? We're having a special on affogatos if you want to try one. Usually, they're like $7, but today, they're only $5. I'd like a...
I'm not sure what an affogato is. Isn't that on a vegetable? Every single time. Not wanting to commit to the strange-sounding drink, I look at the menu instead. Unfortunately, it's full of handwritten, spindly letters. I can't read a single word, and there are no helpful pictures. A safe option it is.
I'll just have a vanilla latte. Ugh, boring. But okay. Name? Miho.
Miho. It's my first time testing out how that name sounds, and I decide that I like it. I decided on the airship that was a name that I would use here in Wellington. I've used so many names throughout my life that I can't remember most of them. For each new city I visit, I come up with something new. Foxes don't have any use for names, so nobody ever gave me one. She scribbles something on the cup with a black marker. If that's how this name looks, then I'm even more pleased with it.
$4.50, please.
I hand her the brown bill and she gives me back a big coin with a picture of a boat on it.
Alright. I'll have this ready for you in no time.
She sure seems enthusiastic. I nod as she spins around and starts working. Looking about somewhere to sit, I decide on a seat by the window with the sun pouring in. Near the entrance of the cafe, there's a wire rack and a stack of maps and tourist pamphlets, so I grab one of the maps before taking my seat. The cafe is big and bright, with plants everywhere. They're on the walls, on the floor, and on the ceiling. Most of them are real and vibrant, obviously being well cared for. How do they actually water these things? I've never stopped to think about that before. I've thought about how, oh, these are cool, but how do they actually water them? Do they, like, unscrew them and then water them? Even the lights that hang down from the ceiling have glass ornaments with little shrubs in them. Seems like I made a good choice coming here. Any place with a bit of nature in it is more comfortable to me than places without.
I guess I should find a place to stay.
Looking down to the map I took, I traced the path I made from the port to this cafe. It's useful, but it doesn't really tell me anything helpful about the house in particular. I need to find a higher vantage point. I move my finger along the hills I noticed from outside, following the little brown path to a patch of green with a little mountain icon. That should work for now.
Miho!
My ears perk up, right as the barista arrives and places my drink in front of me.
Thanks!
I reach over and take the warm cup in my hand, and the barista doesn't let go.
You ready for the rain tomorrow? Huh? It's gonna rain tomorrow.
I glance behind me and out the window. It's as sunny and blue as any day I've ever seen. As a day I've ever seen.
How do you know that? There aren't any clouds out there. I'm just good with the weather. Anyway, if you forget, then you'll be sorry.
She finally lets go of my drink and heads back behind the counter. People are weird. Does the barista pull that on everyone? Standing on the doorstep, I have my first sip.
Oh, this is really good.
It's pretty plain, but well made. The coffee isn't too bitter, which is perfect for me. With a moment to myself, my thoughts turn inwards as I sip on the warm drink. My first travels were in search of someone, but despite my whole life been spent trying, I haven't made any progress in finding them. So I've simply wandering, going wherever I wish at the time. I've been itching for a change of scenery anyway, so I boarded, snuck onto, the first airship that I could. The best part about owning nothing but the clothes on my back is that I can pick up and leave whenever I feel like it. I take a moment to get my bearings and look around. I see a tired-looking person shuffling along the far footpath with a big briefcase in their hand. I added the word big in there, but we're making it thing. They stop outside one of the buildings, take a deep breath, and pat their face a couple times, and then go inside. They must not be looking forward to whatever's going to happen in there. Maybe they have to fight someone. Through the large glass windows of another store, a fawn is trying on a pair of shoes, but they don't seem to fit her hooves. The people waiting with her look annoyed. I wonder if she fusses around with her footwear a lot. For a while, I simply let the day roll by and watch the various figures who still roll by. People watching is fun, especially in such a busy city. Eventually I go sip my coffee, only to find nothing coming out. With no more reason to stick around, it's time to go. On the sunlit street, I look about the match to see what I can do, see with the map's direction. Match what I can see with the map's directions. Okay. There's a small green mountain in the distance ahead of me, which must be the one on the map. It'll be the perfect vantage point for the city. I think I've reached the point today where I've stopped being able to read. Get some more water in here. Okay. Ideally, I'll find an empty building I can crash in, but it's not necessary. A roof over my head would be nice, but I'm plenty used to sleeping outside under the stars. Sometimes it's better than sleeping in a bed. Encouraged by the plan forming in my head, I set off on a long walk to the summit. The path to the mountain turns out to be less simple than the map made it look. First, the trail takes me along the waterfront, then it turns upwards through a small forested area. Being amongst the trees and their tall shadows makes me feel at home. When the path leaves the woods again, I'm a little disappointed. It leads up a paved road, so I stick to the edge to avoid passing cars. Sometimes I take shortcuts through yards or up unmarked paths. There are quite a few nice-looking homes right along the roadside. I make a mental note to go check them out when I'm running low on money or food. Not much further along, a concrete lookout offers us another glimpse of the city below. A couple airships are coming in to dock at the skyport, probably come from one of the other floating islands. You know, I never quite understood the floating islands bit. Because I'm pretty sure Miho sees that the ocean's reflection of the sky means that it's more of the sky, so they're just other islands. But there's also talk about the underworld in this. So maybe they are legitimate floating islands. You know what I mean? We never really got an answer to that part of the question. There's still a ways to go to the top of the mountain, but luckily the walk has been easy so far. I wouldn't even consider it a hike. Eventually, I reach the final stretch of road. I can see where it curves ahead to the summit, and I hurry to the end. A metal railing spreads out like a crown on top of the mountain. As I go to toss my empty cup away, a pair of chatting tourists pass me by.
How far is it from here?
Oh, about an hour from the base of Mount Victoria, so a bit further from here.
Mount Victoria.
Yeah, there could be some lore somewhere that we missed. It might also be in the 29% of the game that I haven't played. I'm glad to know that's what this place is called. I say the name out loud to help commit it to memory. Standing at the edge, I'm treated to a wonderful view of Wellington. The city forms a crescent moon shape around the bay, which glitters like a sapphire from up here. The sun is starting to set, and that makes the water even more shimmery. Even more airships can be seen coming and going. I think that I can even see the edge of the floating island we're on, miles out in the open sky. I survey the city, using the skyport as a reference point. I'll reset my chat down there. From up here, what felt like such a long chase really doesn't look far at all. If I strain my eyes, I think I can even see the coffee shop from earlier. What was it the barista said it was called? The Bell House? It's kind of tough to make out details. My hearing and sense of smell may be great, but my eyes aren't that much better than humans. Then I noticed something useful.
Look! Is that our house?
Probably. What can you see from here?
I see Dad's car!
Not too far away, there's a little kid who's using a pair of metal tubes attached to a post. His mom is helping him aim it at the city. It must be something that improves your vision. The moment the kid and his mom leave, I hurry over before someone else can get to them first. When I press my eyes in the same spot the child did, though, all I can see is black. I try moving it around, but it doesn't change. Is this thing busted? Some text is printed on the side. I have no idea what it says. There's a small slot, though, with a picture of a coin next to it. Lucky for me, it's the coin that has a 50 on it. I put the coin that I received from the barista into the slot and spin the lever. The machine eats my coin, and then when I put my eyes to it again...
Yes!
Everything looks much closer now. Even the trees on the other side of the hill appear in crystal clear detail, like I'm standing right next to them. I aim the viewing glass at the city and look around, trying to find a good place to rest for the night. Houses are a no-go. Even if they look empty or abandoned, you can never let your guard down for a minute. Same with most shops. I don't have enough money for a hotel, and I won't risk sneaking into one of those either. As I'm studying the sights, I try to memorize as much as I can. There's a clicking sound, and once again the view goes black. Stupid machine. Yeah, fuck machines. I smack it a couple times to check again, but I still can't see anything.
Well, whatever. Looks like I'm sleeping outside tonight. Guess this place is as good as any.
I head back down the trail a little bit and veer off it into the underbrush.
Not perfect, but it'll do.
It's not exactly the wilderness, but just about everything around here seems cityfied to some extent. Usually when I make a den, I prefer to find a place far from other people. A place where nobody will find me. I doubt I'll find anything perfect, but this is good enough.
It's fine. Can't afford to be picky.
Once the trail I was on is out of sight, I transform again. My neck gets warm as my bead activates, and a few seconds later, I'm on all fours. How many times have I said that sentence? As a fox, the sensations of nature are much stronger. The earth beneath my paws is cool and refreshing, and the breeze whips through my tails like a massage. I hurry down a hill covered in grass so tall that it reaches over my head. I can smell fresh water and follow the scent to a small stream where I'm able to quench my thirst. Apparently I'm not able to quench my thirst, though. Let's do one more, for good measure. One more sippy. My model looks like I'm like leaning up to drink from a fucking hamster thing whenever I start sipping from my water bottle. You know, you see what I mean? It's just as satisfying as the drink I got at the cafe, but in a different way. And being able to slurp up water is way more enjoyable than having to use a straw. Or worse, one of those lids with the tiny holes. For some time, for a little while, I follow my nose to some berries and some edible plants that'll do for a snack. Unfortunately, unlike the water, foraging is never as satisfying as eating human food. If I want a real meal tonight, then I should pick up the pace before it gets too late. Still, I want to get this done now. There's still daylight. You're damn right Athena needs entertainment in her enclosure. I made that joke when I was in the fucking restaurant earlier today. I keep close to the stream and search for a place where the ground is soft. Before too long, the enclosure joke. Before too long, I find a promising area. A small valley with hills on both sides and thick foliage on the others. I'm still close enough to civilization to hear cars and other city noise, but the area I'm in doesn't seem like it gets visited very often. At the very least, it doesn't really smell like people. The spot that I settle on is a nice mound of dirt near an edge of the woods, partially hidden by a tall tree with low-hanging leaves. Even if no one comes by, it makes me feel better knowing that I'll be out of sight. And keep your mouth shut before it gets you into trouble. Well, you're already in trouble. And so, I start to dig. My claws rip away at the dirt as I burrow downwards, widening the tunnel just enough for my sleek frame to fit. First I did forward, and then downwards, widening out an area that's big enough for my whole body to fit. This is something I've been doing my whole life, even back when I was just a regular fox. I think that's why I don't mind it too much compared to sleeping inside somewhere. It just feels right to me. It takes a little while, and by the time I'm finally finished, the first few stars have started to peek out from the sky. Sometimes I notice like accidental alliteration here and there. Finally finished the first few stars. I don't know. I have like I'm keeping an eye out for alliteration. I shake myself clean of the dirt that sticks to my coat and then transform back into my human form.
Spread this here, a couple of branches here, some leaves there.
I walk around the valley a bit, checking from different angles.
Not bad for just an afternoon's work.
If you weren't looking for it, I don't think you'd ever notice anything out of place. All that digging has made me work up an appetite, and not the kind that'll be satisfied with just a few berries.
Ugh, I'm so hungry. I haven't had a real meal since yesterday.
Me when looking at the clock and seeing that it's midnight. My stomach rumbles painfully. I've been so busy since arriving here in Wellington that I kind of forgot just how hungry I was. I'll grab some human food back in town. Casting one last glance at my afternoon's work, I set off towards the city.
Work never ends. Time to get some food!
I'm a bit disappointed when I finally get back to the busy street from before. I was hoping that it would all be emptier now, and that all the stores would be closed. Turns out I was half right. A lot of shops have gone dark for the evening, but there are just as many people walking around now as there were earlier. In fact, there might even be more. The patio of a restaurant has a bunch of tables full. A mermaid is sitting in the fountain I sat by earlier, chatting with the Cyclops. Even the cafe that I visited is crowded now, the line almost out the door. After pacing up and down the road for a while, I sit down and try to figure out what to do next. You know, you may like sitting there wondering, like, why are there so many people at the cafe at this time of night? But like, for me, I just like to have something warm in my mouth late at night. I don't know about y'all. I just like to drink warm drinks for the comfort of it, rather than for anything else late at night. I'm not too worried about what would happen if I got caught stealing. I'd just escape, obviously. And even if they somehow managed to catch me, it wouldn't be an issue for very long. What's wrong there? What's wrong there in chat? That's bait. Where's the Mad Max gif? See, there's something different about me that makes me extra good at being a thief. It's not just the skills I've practiced over the years, like picking locks and sneaking around. No, it's a bit more special than that. Without fail, every single person I meet forgets about me the next day. I don't know why, but I don't really care either. It's magic. That's all I know about it. Really useful magic. Everywhere I go, no matter how careless I am, all of my problems are solved by the next day. That doesn't mean there's no danger. I've been caught in the act before, and beaten and harassed before I can manage to get away. I started that sentence with quite the tone, and I immediately had to change it. I've even lost a few prizes that I stole in fair and square because I had to get going in a hurry. If someone sees me but isn't able to stop me, I know that I'll be home free. Sure, they might remember having something stolen, but they'll never know who did it. It almost makes things too easy. Right now, it would be smarter to just come back even later, in the dead of night, and hope that there are no people around. I'd be able to take my time browsing without having to worry about making a quick escape. Where's the fun in that, though? I walk casually up and down the street, glancing into the windows without being too obvious about it. Some stores still have customers inside, others have locked their doors and shut off the lights. What did you miss? You can talk to my moderator about what you missed. He seems to believe that I was baiting you. Would I ever do that? Most of the restaurants are still open and are only making me hungrier. Stealing from restaurants is a bit much even for me, though. I've tried it before, but the cluttered kitchens, as well as the tables and chairs, make it hard to get around. Plus, I've learned the hard way that there are plenty of hot or sharp things for angry cooks to throw at you as you try to make your way out. Instead, packaged and pre-made foods are my best friends. Things that I can grab multiples of at once and stuff into my pockets. If I'm really lucky, I'll find a place with refrigerated sandwiches or salads, or sometimes perfectly good hot food that gets thrown out. You wouldn't believe the kind of stuff that's available if you don't mind sifting through the trash a little bit. That's funny because my meal tonight was trash can mac and cheese. It was literally called trash can mac and cheese, but it was just pulled pork and the macaroni and cheese with like a little bit of cabbage and onion. It's not ideal, of course, but a hot meal is a hot meal. I know plenty of foxes who've eaten much worse.
Target spotted.
Target spotted. Bomb has been planted. It's perfect. A small convenience store, snacks lined up from behind the front window. Even better, shops on either side of it are close too, so there's not many other people in the area.
Locked, huh? Not surprising.
I head down a nearby alley and find the back door, which is probably where they bring in new products. The alleyway is dark to begin with, and my dark clothes help me hide even better. I glance around the alley, glad like always for my excellent night vision. Nobody's watching, nobody is even around. I pull my hood up over my ears and tuck my tail between my legs, leaning against the sturdy door. To anyone not looking closely, I'm sure I appear as nothing more than a shadow. I dig around my pocket until I find my trusty lockpick, and I'm set to work on the door. It isn't a complicated lock after all, just a regular keyhole. With a click, the latch springs open just a few short moments later.
Bingo. Huh?
I tug the door towards me, but there's a chain on the inside that keeps it from opening very wide. There's no way a human could fit through the gap, but it would be easy as a fox. First, I slink away for a bit, idling on the nearby street like a regular pedestrian. I wait to see if anyone shows up, just in case I triggered a silent security system. After about 10 minutes, I decide it's safe. I transform under the cover of darkness in the alley and slip into the building before transforming back. The shop isn't very big, and the receiving area is just a small hallway with a few boxes of soda and candy bars on the floor. I grab a couple of my favorites and shove them into my pockets. When I creep up to the main area, I make sure to stay low to the ground to avoid being seen from the outside. Not exactly hidden, but as long as I don't stand up, I shouldn't attract anyone's attention. Alright, that's Skyrim logic right there. As long as you crouch, no one will see you. I move fast, cramming as much into my coat as I can. Cookies, protein bars, popcorn, I'm not very picky. When my coat starts to feel pretty heavy, I grab a plastic bag from behind the counter and transfer some of my loot into there. I also take up a few bottles of water, take a drink real quick. And sports drinks from the coolers. Just as I'm about to leave, I spot a few of those coveted plastic wrap sandwiches I was thinking about earlier.
Jackpot.
I fill my bag with sandwiches until it's almost overflowing, and then I head back out the way I came in. In total, I was in and out under 5 minutes, and I've got enough supplies to last me several days. When I step into the alley, I glance around in both directions, making sure no one saw me emerge from the store. I don't see anyone, but my neck prickles as if someone is watching me. Chat. Pop quiz. Who's watching her? I sniff the air, but don't notice anything out of the ordinary. Nothing that wasn't there before. Still... Suddenly, there's a flap of wings, and a bat flutters past me from out of the shadows. It goes right over my head and disappears from sight up the street.
Oh, that's it?
I let out the breath I've been holding, and start making my way back towards the mountain where I made my den. Pop quiz, what's the name of that bat? I let the bag swing from my arm as I walk, whistling a song I heard earlier. I'm not able to keep a smile off my face. The hint is it's a Baldur's Gate 3 character.
All in all, not a bad first date.
Carla. No, not really.
I've got a nice nest, food to spare, and plenty of places to explore tomorrow.
There have been plenty of days in my life where I had none of those things. I unwrap one of the sandwiches that I grabbed and take a big bite.
Nothing beats the taste of hard work.
Amen, brother. I hope Wellington continues to treat me well while I'm here. It's in the name, buddy.
So tired. I'm gonna sleep so well tonight.
I unpack everything that I got from the store, as well as the treasures that I always carry with me. My lockpick, my wallet, a few pretty stones. I'm pretty sure that bat is named Orpheus. The only thing that I leave in my pocket is my jacket is a small scroll.
Can't get that damaged or dirty.
I change back into a fox and dig another hole near the entrance to my den. This one is much simpler and shallower, and I bury some of the stacks that I stole before covering them back up with dirt.
Not like anyone's gonna come by and swipe my things, but better safe than sorry.
She's got hell of a good eyeliner game. even in fox form.
I stole this myself, after all. Don't want it being stolen from me.
Stuff like my pen and my favorite rock go in the burrow with me, since I like having them close by. Once I've got everything where it belongs, I climb into the hole myself, turning a few circles before settling down with my tail wrapped around me. From here, I have a perfect view of the stars. I look up at the clear night sky through the mouth of the tunnel. I feel bad for all the people way down in the underworld.
Can they even see the stars from there?
I've never been to the underworld, so I have no idea. I can't imagine falling asleep without them. Comfortable and safe, I close my eyes and quickly slip off to dreamland. I wake up to trouble, or at least a threat. Sure, it's the only morning as I peer out my burrow's entrance, but the sky is already dark and foreboding. My attention moves from the ominous rain clouds above to the trees outside my den, their branches shaking in the strong
I
breeze.
can't believe that girl from the cafe was right.
I climb up the tunnel and out into the open, sniffing the air. It just tells me what I already know. A storm is coming, and fast. But also, another scent plays on my nose, one so faint that I almost brush it off before taking another smell. Surely I'm wrong. Surely there's no way, though. Lowering my snout to the ground, I investigate the area, then decide that I'm right. I change into my human form and look around.
Someone's been here.
Pop quiz chat, who's that? Yeah, someone's definitely been here, but the scent isn't a human's. It's vaguely familiar, but at the same time, not like anything I recognize.
And it definitely wasn't here when I went to sleep.
They must have come here in the night and stopped right outside my den.
Were they watching me sleep?
Oh, how romantic.
Oh crap!
As a fox, I dive back into my hole and make sure everything is still there. My heart pounds in my chest, but nothing appears to be missing. I also checked the spot where I buried my stash from last night, but that hasn't been disturbed either. I breathe a sigh of relief. If any of my stuff had been stolen, I'd be so mad. But that still doesn't answer the question of what they want, and that's even more concerning. I'm a pretty light sleeper, and usually the slightest sound or motion will wake me up. So if someone was able to sneak up on me, even I have to be impressed. Impressed, and a little bit worried. I've got a more pressing issue right now, though, and I stare up to the sky in disappointment.
I hate the rain.
I would have found a different place to make my nest and hide my supplies if I'd known this would happen. Instead, both burrows would probably just be piles of mud by the end of the day.
I should have found a place with a roof after all.
I fill my pockets with my most important possessions and some of the food I grabbed last night. Everything else I wrap as tightly into plastic bags as I can, and bury them in my den. Hopefully I can find somewhere fast, and then move everything else over before it gets ruined. An abandoned house would be perfect, or some other place where I'd be able to hide. I'm just about to get going when a loud flapping sound overhead catches my attention. I expect it to be a bird, but instead it's yet another bat. This one's even bigger than the one I saw last night. Its wings are way longer and noisier. I can even hear it squeaking something as it flies past. Oh, this one's Orpheus. The other one is, I forget what the other ones are named, though. Because we don't really talk about the other ones. Some people say bats and foxes are similar. I don't see it. I watch it fly around for a bit before it takes off towards the city.
Maybe it knows somewhere to stay. Guess I'll follow it for now.
A couple times it disappears between the trees or just too far ahead, but I always manage to catch back up. Eventually, we're out of the woods and back into civilization, where a car whizzes right past me. There's a sidewalk here and other people walking around. Most of them look up to the sky nervously, though, and everyone seems to be in a hurry.
Guess I'm not the only one looking to get away from the rain.
More people seem to be going in the direction I was headed than anywhere else, so I stick to that. By now, my winged guide is almost out of sight again. Just a little black speck in the sky flying into the distance. Farther up this road, there's a slope that leads to a big fancy-looking building. It doesn't look like a shop or a restaurant, at least not one that I've ever seen. But there are so many people going in and out that it has to be open to the public. That's good enough for me. It'll give me somewhere dry to spend some time, and maybe I can learn something useful. Plus, places like this usually have plenty of valuables inside. If I'm lucky, I might be able to find something to fund my next few days. After all, the bigger the target, the less likely they are to know something's missing. The sturdy oak door isn't as heavy as it looks, a firm push being enough to heave it open. Gingerly stepping inside and out of the rain, I'm greeted by books. Lots of books. Books on shelves, books on tables, books on the floor, books everywhere. The place even smells of musty old paper, and the dozen or so people inside are mostly leafing through pages in the aisles. There's an odd silence about the building. The odd silence about the building is striking, given how many are around. It doesn't look like a shop, so I assume this must be a library. I've heard of them, but I've never been in one. No point, since I can't read at all. Not yet. But it's warm and cozy and very dry, so it'll do just fine. Now that I'm thinking about it, my save was Chapter 2, Day 4, which I think is the fourth day of this. So it actually might have been the save that I wanted to go to. But it's too late now. We're in Day 2, Chapter 1. We're just gonna go. Did I mute myself again? No, I didn't mute myself again. I take a seat in an empty chair nearby and sit back just to observe for a bit. There are plenty of people, but it's not too busy. Lots of empty, unwatched spaces. Most folks seem to be here alone, or in small groups that keep to themselves. There's not much conversation going on. And what there is all whispered. Nobody gives me a second glance, which is a good sign. It means I'm probably not breaking any rules by just being here. So, can I get give me a high or low here on, what are the chances that I run into a cute bottomy lesbian if I go to a library right now? I mean, not right this second, because I don't think the chances are high if I go right this second. But do you think a library is a good place to meet people? No, I know that the chances are pretty slim, but I do kind of want to go to the library and grab something. You wish? I wish too. I kind of want to go to a library just to look at the manga aisle, because y'all are trying to cause the Weeba Bina arc, and maybe I would be down to take a read of something. Maybe. I would need some suggestions, though, because I can't just read anything. One of my favorite books, though, that I don't have a physical copy of, and I would love a physical copy of, is Milk and Honey. So I'd like to get my hands on a physical copy of that sometime. Behind the desk, there's a hallway leading deeper into the building, and I peek around the corner to see what's back there. I got some good Yuri manga. Of course you have Yuri manga up the ass. Of course you do. I ask you for Yuri animes, and you come back with like 13 paragraphs. Like, you might as well have written a scientific paper on it. But it's okay though. I'm watching them. So then when somebody else asks me, I'll have a scientific paper for them to read. All I can see are some shut doors and at the very back a staircase. Picture of Juliet. After glancing around to make sure no one is watching, I sneak down the hall and try a couple of the doors. All of them are locked. You got me square on the head with that one. I could probably pick them if I wanted to. No sense trying to do that now, though. Is there anything more valuable around? An antique clock or vase would be perfect. Sadly, it's almost all books. Books and small trinkets that look pretty worthless, not even worth the trouble of stealing. At least it's got a roof. I do spot a couple promising items, like a set of old coins, and memorize their locations. I wandered back to the main area, where I came in. Outside, it hasn't started raining yet, but it's only a matter of time. The wind is loud and gusty, and even opening the door is enough to make me shiver. If nothing else, I could probably wait out the rain here. But ugh, my poor abandoned snacks back at the den, what a waste. Can't do anything about it now, though. I should just keep looking around. There's a little bit of ad-lib in this, but don't worry, I know how to read. I move slowly around the area, never going behind what seems to be a public area. I pretend to inspect a few books, taking them off the shelves, flipping through pages. But I'm actually mapping out the place in my head. Doors, windows, and potential place to hide, things like that. Most of the time, this kind of info is unnecessary. It's been at least a few decades since I've had to make a dramatic escape from anywhere. At this point, planning an escape route is just a habit. Overall, I like what I'm seeing. Even with the locked doors and off-limits hallways, there are a lot of nooks and crannies that would make good hiding spots, especially as a fox. From the thick dust that coats a lot of these areas, I can tell they don't get a whole lot of visitors. If I'm careful, I might be able to go to a whole week or more without being noticed. Good luck with that. As long as I can get in and out of the building easily, that is. And with the huge windows that line the back wall, that seems easy enough too. I weave around a couple shelves that are taller than I am, heading for the far back corner. Peer around the corner of the last aisle, just to make sure I'm alone. But I'm not. It's her theme. At a small table by the window sits a woman with a small book in her hand, resting against her fingers. She's perfectly still, but mouths the words on the page she reads, like she's tasting them instead of just seeing them. This theme is already getting nostalgic for me. Her expression has the distant look of someone way off in their own world, far away from this one. She looks so at peace that I think she must belong in the other world. She's beautiful and elegant in the same way as a painting, with the light from the window shining on her like a display. It's almost like in another life, we dated. I dug back behind the bookshelf, pressing one hand to my racing heart. My other bumps against one of the books on the shelf, and it falls with a dusty thump. Yes, it's Aspen. Cursing my clumsiness, I silently back away, in case she decides to investigate, but she doesn't leave her chair.
I suppose it's nothing.
She turns and gazes out the open window. At what? I don't know. A moment later, she returns her book and leaves this world again. I stay hidden, my face still burning a bit. Yes, I think this will be a perfect place to spend some time. Suddenly, there's a much louder boom than the one I caused, as thunder rumbles outside. A few people around the library startle at the sound and look around. Sighing, the girl in the chair pulls the window beside her closed, the first drops of rain falling not a minute later. I'll investigate the windows later. Right now, I don't want to bother her. So, I head back to one of the plush chairs on the other side of the library and take a seat. I could be here a while, depending on how long the rain lasts, so I may as well get comfy. I find a few books that have more pictures than words and curl up in one of the soft chairs to flip through them. There aren't as many of those ones, and I go through the stack pretty fast. It takes long enough for the rain to start, though. The longer I read, the louder the pounding of the rain and the howling of the wind become. Guess it's not letting up anytime soon. I can't complain, though. This library is pretty cozy by my usual standards. It's warm and safe, and nobody tells me to go away. I even have snacks. More than once, I get up and walk around the library again, even though I've got most of it memorized by now. I take note of things like a child's stuffed toy that's lying on the floor in one section, or the thin blanket that's stuffed between a bookshelf on the wall. On my third or fourth trip around, I finally find something I've been looking for. In one of the far corners, totally opposite the wall where I saw the girl reading earlier, there's a single chair and a small table. On the wall nearby is a portrait of a girl with light brown hair, but I barely pay any attention to that. What I'm interested in is the frame. Pop quiz, who's in the painting? It's lovely. It looks like it might be made out of gold. It certainly shines like it. It's carved intricately into the shape of waves flowing up and down. It's gotta be worth something. I pretend to not pay much attention to it as I make my way back to my table. There are too many other people around for me to be able to try and sneak it out. It's too big to fit under my jacket without being obvious. That just means I'll have to come back some other time. Maybe once the place is closed. The hours pass by and the storm continues. I'm kind of disappointed about losing the whole day, especially so soon after arriving, but it's not like I'm in any sort of hurry. I pat one of my pockets, feeling the familiar and reassuring weight of the paper scroll that's tucked away there. That scroll is the only thing close to a purpose that I have, and it's not particularly urgent. Or at least, I don't have any way to deal with it faster. I spend a long time reading. It's almost afternoon when I go and check the windows again, but the rough weather outside continues. At this rate, I'll be sleeping in a puddle of mud tonight. Unless... A quick check shows that a lot of the other library patrons have left. It's not empty, but it's not nearly as full as earlier. Guess some of them decided it was worth braving the rain. Looking as nonchalant as I can, I get up from my seat and pretend to browse again, slowly moving through the shelves. The reading girl is gone now, though she's not what I was looking for. Instead, I pick up the dropped toy and blanket that I spotted earlier, and head to one of the out-of-the-way hiding spots I picked out before. It's on the floor, between a shelf and the wall. It has a bit of carpet to make it softer. Even better, it has between two corner shelves, meaning that's practically out of sight if you're not looking for it. I wriggle my way between the furniture and lie down, using the toy as a pillow and draping the blanket over me. I toss and turn a few times before finally settling down.
Yep, not bad at all.
Even though I haven't done much today, I'm always down to take a nap. I can pass a few hours by sleeping, wake up once it's dark, and then grab that picture frame and be on my way. I'll have to rebuild my den once I get back, but that's a problem for future me. I yawn, staring up at the ceiling until my eyes get heavy.
Maybe today won't be a total waste after all.
The sound of cloth rustling wakes me from a dreamless sleep. How did somebody sneak up on me twice now? I don't know how long it's been. The sky outside has darkened significantly, and now stars twinkle outside the window. There's no time to react as the sound suddenly comes closer. I hear no footsteps, but suddenly a woman steps into view. Her clothes are pure white, making her stand out like a ghost in the dark library. Her cape rustles again as she reaches towards one of the shelves. One of the shelves I'm hiding behind, to be precise. Gingerly, she moves two books to the side and slides another book into the space she created. She handles them like precious treasures that might break if she's too rough. That's why I want someone to handle me. I stay perfectly still, afraid to even breathe in case she notices me. My heart beats wildly as she slowly and deliberately looks over the shelf, examining their titles before taking a book from their second lowest row. Through the gap she creates in the shelves, our eyes meet in the darkness. Are you taking notes over there? Oh no. I tense up as she steps around the shelving between us to get a better look at me, preparing myself to leap away if the need arises. The carefully memorized layout of the library flashes through my mind as I frantically plot the best way to flee. Even as I prepare my escape, I can see her taking in everything about me. The stolen blanket, the makeshift pillow, my generally disheveled appearance. I love Juliet. She opens her mouth, and I brace myself for the verbal attack that's sure to come.
Hello there.
Her voice gets me every time.
May I ask why you're sleeping on the floor?
Doesn't matter what I say, just distract her enough to get away.
I don't have anywhere else to sleep.
I thought so.
She leans down and offers me a hand. I look at it warily. I don't take it, but I slowly stand, letting the blanket fall on my feet, and trying to subtly get in position to run. She has like such lovely gray eyes, and it's weird to like. It's a weird eye color to really geek over, to really ogle, you know. But they are.
Well, I have an extra room on the second floor that you're welcome to borrow, if you'd prefer that. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to remain here, on the ground. I apologize for waking you.
With a smile, the oddly calm woman steps away and busies herself organizing another row of books. She probably expects me to let my guard down and take her offer. I'm just a stranger, someone who broke into her library. There's no reason for her to treat me kindly. My years of experience, and there have been plenty of those, tell me it's a trap.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'll just be going, actually. Sorry to bother you like this.
I hurry past her, shoulders tense as I expect her to grab me or try to stop me. She doesn't, though. Poor Juliet. The one time I glance back, she's watching me with a strange expression that I don't recognize. It's pity. When I get outside and away from the library, I breathe a sigh of relief.
Whew, that was close. I'm not falling for that one again.
Last time I let someone feel sorry for me and accepted a place to stay, I woke up with them trying to empty my wallet. I may be a thief, but at least I do it honestly. I wouldn't try to trick someone like that. That wasn't the first time someone tried to fool me and take advantage of me either.
Still, it's a shame to lose such a nice hiding place. Maybe I'll give it a couple days for that woman to forget about me, and then try again. If she wasn't lying about there being an empty room on the second floor, then maybe I could sneak into there.
Tonight, though, I'm on my own. Shivering, I wrap my coat and tail tightly around myself as I think about what to do next. The rain has stopped, although it's still cold and cloudy. My stomach grumbles since I haven't eaten anything other than the snacks all day.
Ugh.
I may as well get over with and go check on the status of my den.
Well, it could be worse.
It's not as bad as expected, which is a pleasant surprise.
What's a little mine? It'll be just fine.
I swap to my fox form to prod around. The entrance has caved in a little, but after I scoop that out, I find the rest of the tunnels and main room are relatively intact. Cold as hell, but intact. Seems the trees protected the den from a lot of the rain. Takes me a while to find the spot where I buried my stash, since the stick I used to mark the spot got washed away. Eventually I locate it, though, and start digging. The cold mud makes my paws dirty and sore, and little flecks cover my fur. After I finally reach the soggy plastic bags, I shake myself clean before opening them as a human. Some water has seeped through, and I open the spoiled items before tossing them away. Not too picky, but I have plenty of other snacks to choose from.
Eat up, birdies!
God, I love every single one of Miho's lines. A few of them swoop down to inspect the offering. I scarf down a quick meal of cookies and unwarmed soup, along with some cold water from the stream. At least the water is satisfying. Then, even though I just woke up from a nap not too long ago, I shift back into my fox form and crawl into my bed and curl up. I'm sure it'll be a while before I fall asleep, but I don't feel like going back into town. I've had enough excitement for one day. This isn't all that bad. Regular foxes without magic powers have it way worse than I do. Although, back when a fox was all I was, I wouldn't have really cared. To this day, I'm not sure what it is that makes me different. I used to be just like them. No desire to go beyond the forest or anything. And then one day, I became whatever I am now. I think it was Jongmin's wish that did it. Because he wishes upon her or something, essentially. That's what I think did it. But it could just be her own experiences with a human. Something like that turned her into Gumio. I'm not sure. All I had was my necklace, a small scroll that I can't read, and the memory of the person who had given it to me. They were so kind to me, that stranger in the forest. They wished me well, even though I was just an ordinary fox. Somehow that didn't seem to matter to them. I never even knew their name, just their face and their voice. But I know that I'll recognize them when I see them. It's just a matter of finding them. So since then, I've been looking and surviving. Looking for them is what keeps me going. It's enough to live for. If I wasn't, I don't know what else I'd be doing. I guess I'd just be surviving. But if that was the only thing, I think I'd rather just stay the fox. That was considering having played this once, that line feels more powerful than the first time I read it. Standing outside my den in human form, I take stock of how things stand. The sun's thankfully out this morning, but everything remains damp, from the ground to the muggy air itself. The chill on the breeze is the worst, making me shiver every time it hits me. The Bell House was pleasant when I visited a couple days ago, so I decide to head down towards the main street and get coffee there while working out my next moves. Coming to the door of the cafe, I pause and wipe my feet on the mat outside. Human fascination with surrounding themselves in concrete makes a little more sense as I work mud off my feet. With that, I finally head inside, only to stop in my tracks as the door shuts behind me. Standing behind the counter is the same girl who I saw reading in the library yesterday, talking with a customer as she takes their order. The gentle aura about her is unmistakable. The person in front of me finishes their order, and I step up to the counter.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bell House. What can I make for you today? Oh, hi. I'll have...
Vanilla latte? No, that's boring.
What do you recommend? I want to try something new. I'm glad you asked. I was just thinking that you look like the sort of person who would enjoy one of our Fairy Kiss chillers. It's one of our signature drinks, with a vanilla gelato base and a mint chocolate chip swirl.
I was planning to get something warm, but that does sound pretty good.
Okay, give me one of those then. Perfect.
Perfect.
Could I get your name, please? It's Miho.
She scribbles something onto a cup and finishes it with a big flourish.
I'll have that right out for you. Thanks.
I pay and then go take the same seat as before next to one of the windows. It's pretty empty in here again, so I can sit wherever I want. Before the barista starts making my drink, I spot her writing something else down in her little notebook. She glances my way once or twice while she does, but I pretend not to notice. What, fairy kiss chillers? I mean, yeah, I kinda see what you mean there, but just because they become a romantic thing. Well, they can potentially become a romantic thing. I wonder what it is. The barista yesterday didn't write anything down. Anyway, I've got more important things on my mind. Keep that in here. What did she just write down? I mull over the plan which formed as I walk here, becoming increasingly happy with it. Tonight, I've already decided I'm going to sneak back into that library. Between that picture frame and some of the other trinkets I saw, I should be able to pilfer enough to fund my next few days in Wellington. Finding somewhere to sell it should be the easy part. I've got a dozen excuses that I can recite about where the items come from. Dead grandma, spring cleaning, new renovations. Sometimes I try extra hard and pretend that the things I'm selling are really special to me and earn a bit more cash that way. Sometimes I just take whatever cash they give me. Hey, you said earlier you don't thieve dirty. After years of watching other humans do it and trying it out myself, I've gotten pretty good at pawning items off. I find myself idly watching the barista make my drink. While I do, I practice a disarming smile. All of her movements are quick and practiced, but she has that same faraway look in her eyes that I noticed yesterday. She looks up, and our eyes meet. I don't look away, and she turns pink before ducking away behind the machine, out of sight.
Huh. Weird girl.
Weird girl, aka useless lesbian. I turn my head around to look around the cafe, and a butterfly outside catches my attention, so I watch that instead. It flutters back and forth, landing on the flower and resting its wings.
Miho!
My coffee's ready. I quickly get up and skip over to the counter. Cup in hand, she starts to head over to give it to me. Then several things happen at once. One of the little tassets in her pocket of the apron catches on one of the drawers behind the counter, and she jerks to a stop, eyes wide with surprise. You know, she looks more and more like someone else, you know who, at this angle, this 3/4 angle. As my drink tumbles out of her hand, landing on the counter with a wet gloop sound, as the ice cream spots against it, sending mint green rivers of coffee everywhere. A few seconds pass where we just look at each other, neither of us quite sure what to do, and then she takes a deep breath.
I am so sorry. I'll make you a replacement right away. Just give me 1 second and I'll have that ready for you.
Nina sweat. Her words spill out faster than the beverage, making it hard to even understand what she's saying. Her face is bright red as she spins back around and grabs another empty cup. Then she stops, hands hovering awkwardly.
Wait, I should clean this up before it dries and starts to go bad.
She hurries back to the mess, wiping at it with some napkins. Oh yeah, Faye, yeah. She mops up as much of it as she can with one hand, then leaves the soggy paper on the counter while she starts to remake my drink.
I'm really sorry. This is such an embarrassment.
I don't even know if she's talking to me or herself. I freeze up for a second, looking for an appropriate response to an apology. I'm not used to people apologizing to me.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not in a hurry.
Instead, I just sit back down at one of the tables and watch. She makes the drink twice as fast and then carries it very slowly to the counter, setting it down in the clean spot. This time, she takes a deep breath before speaking. Speaking? I don't know, we've been going so long that I'm starting to slur. You know what, I blame Daryl. Because she said something earlier about Schmieder. And ever since then, I haven't been able to get the word out of my mind. cat got your tongue, well, the fox got my tongue. This time she takes a deep breath before speaking, like she's afraid she's going to mess that up too.
Alright, here's your drink. Again, I'm very sorry.
Let me put that word into chat for you. Schmeeder.
It's your first time here, isn't it? I hope it doesn't leave a bad impression.
Second, actually. Yesterday was the first time. How'd you know?
I make an effort to remember as many of our customers as I can, as well as their favorite orders. I believe you can learn a lot about a person from how they drink their coffee.
Well, that's too bad for her because she won't remember me at all next time. I take a big sip of the drink she made for me. It's creamy and rich and sweet all at the same time.
Whoa, this is really good! It's kind of like a milkshake, but not. But it's not like coffee either.
Yes, exactly. I'm very glad that you like it. It's one of my favorite beverages that we serve. In fact, the recipe was my idea.
Whoa! They should put you in charge of all the recipes.
She smiles again. Oh, it's almost like it's foreshadowing. She seems like she's gotten over the crisis of a spilled drink already.
Thank you. I'll make you another one of my favorites next time, if you'd like.
Totally!
At least I know what to order next time, even though I've been forgotten. I'm already thinking of this place as my go-to coffee shop, especially since it's in a convenient area. With tasty drinks and cute baristas, I don't have a reason to go anywhere else. Amen, brother. Amen, brother. A knocking sound from the employee area gets both our attention.
Hey, Aspen, can you set another batch of croissants?
Hey, Aspen.
Oh, sure. I'll be right there.
It's like my Donovan voice. I've landed in the field of my summer house. She calls back over her shoulder and then looks back at me briefly.
Have a nice day, Miho.
You too!
With a wave, she gathers up the trash from the cleanup and throws that away before disappearing into the bag. So her name is Aspen. That's a pretty name. I'll have to try to remember that. Getting up from my seat, I decide to go back outside for some fresh air. Sipping my fairy kiss killer as I go, I head out the door and onto the increasingly busy main street. I already know my plans for tonight, but I've still got some time to kill before then. What should I do? Oh, we know exactly where we're going. We're going straight to the bay. It's not far from where I am to the beach, so I decide to head down there. Wait a second, I made the wrong decision. It's okay, it's okay. Wait, is it okay? I think it'll be fine. I think you can do multiple things this time.
Glad that guard chased me in this direction, or I'd have never found the Bell House.
And really, that's been the highlight of Wellington so far. It's actually, I think it was go to the mountain first. Yeah, I think you can hit both and be okay. In this level, it's impossible to tell where the ocean ends and where the open sky begins. I can see the skyport from where I am, with a few older ships anchored in a harbor close by. While I'm admiring the view, a worried-looking lady comes up and waves for my attention.
Hi, I'm looking for my son. He's about this tall and wearing a red sweater. His name's Tommy. Have you seen him?
Nope. I haven't seen anyone like that. I just got here.
Okay, thanks.
She walks away in a hurry, looking right and left as she goes to ask someone else.
Humans sure do have it rough.
Since I can't smell or even hear most things, it's a wonder they don't get lost more often. I amble through the waterfront, watching all the people as I go. Like Cuba Street, there's a lot going on. Onto the bridge downtown is where I did some drugs, and a group of 3 mermaids are racing each other. Close to the bridge are a bunch of people fishing, with a stressed-looking guy running back and forth between them. Next to a boarded up market stall and some big crates, I noticed something weird. There's a fabled with a big flower on their head that spins like a propeller. It's a beacon. They're using it to drift in a small circle above something near the crates. I have to check it out, of course. Nobody else pays any attention. I wander over and take a look. The fabled stops spinning as I approach and gives me a helpless look, but doesn't say anything. Near the side of the crates, out of sight from the path, is a little boy on the ground, with his back to one of the wooden boxes.
Are you Tommy?
Kid jumps, totally surprised. Oops. His eyes scramble up and looks at me. He scrambles up and looks at me with wide eyes. I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it.
How'd you know? Your mom's looking for you. She seemed pretty worried.
His expression goes from surprise to sullen real quick.
I don't care. I don't want to go with her. Why not? Why are you over here instead? 'Cause I'm hiding. Oh. Okay.
It's a pretty crummy hiding spot. I mean, it's totally open on 3 sides. I don't say that, though. Instead, I look up at the fabled floating overhead. He looks almost as glum as Tommy.
Who's that? That's Jerby! You mean you can see him? I can. Is that weird? Mom and Dad can't see him. They think I'm just making him up. He doesn't talk, but he's real.
Gerby waves from up high.
He kinda gave away your hiding spot. I saw him from the road. Mom can't see him, and that's all that matters. Why are you hiding from her? 'Cause...
Tommy sits back down and scratches at the dirt with a rock. Guess he doesn't want to talk about it. I'm always glad to end a conversation.
Well,
Same.
good luck.
I start to walk away. He doesn't seem like he's in any danger, and I don't want to be blamed for him hiding in the first place.
Hey, wait a minute.
I turn around. He's already standing up again.
Are you gonna go tell her where I am?
Before I can answer, his eyes get huge again.
Tommy, there you are.
I have to turn around again. This time it's the woman from before. She's already flying past me over the
Are
Tommy.
you okay? What were you doing? Don't you ever run off like that again. Oh, I'm just glad you're safe though.
Her voice goes up and down between relieved and angry. She has Tommy in a tight hug, but he's just staring forward grumpily. Gerby is flying in distress circles again. Finally, the lady turns to me.
You found him, right? Thank you so much. I was so worried.
No problem.
I didn't really do anything. I did find him, but so did she. Guess she's not thinking about it much.
Come on, Tommy, let's go home. We'll talk about this there.
No, I'm not going. That's not home.
My ears flinch as he yells. He stamps his foot on the ground to make his point.
Tommy, sweetie.
Home is where it's you, me, and Dad, not that apartment.
That's still your home too. But this, it's like your second home now.
No, it isn't. Not without you. It's not. Do you and Dad really have to get it?
Tommy, who's already sniffling, can't help from breaking down and crying as he throws his arms around his mom and hugs her back.
I don't want you to go.
Man, it's already hard. Like, I think I'm having the same sort of feeling that I had the first time going through this. Like, but now I know more, and it still is kind of tough. I get the impression that I should probably leave. Normally, I'm happy and to be nosy and listen out on things, but right now seems kind of awkward. Neither of the humans notice me leave, but Gerby the Fabled sadly waves goodbye as I head on. I wonder what makes him stick around. I've never seen a Fabled like him before. Not being able to be seen by certain people sure sounds useful, though. I don't have to go far before the sounds of Tommy and his mom walking are drowned out by the noise of the waterfront. I easily fit into the crowd of people milling about. Being able to live a life that no one notices is close enough to being invisible. I'm pretty lucky that I don't ever have those kinds of tearful conversations or panic about someone missing. Is that foreshadowing? No, being part of a crowd is just perfect for me. I stand at the concrete and admire the ocean until I've had my fill. Then I start wandering again. Okay, yeah, we do get 2 tries on the first day. I have plenty of time to kill, and also plenty of restless energy. I decide to go for Mount Victoria, just to give myself something to do. I take the long way up this time, instead of taking a bunch of shortcuts like usual. It winds through neighborhoods and then back out again, with only the occasional car passing by on the street. Compared to some of the other cities I've been in lately, the air here is a lot cleaner, and the smell of nature shines through. I can't compare to being out in the wild for real, of course, but it's nice not to be choking on exhaust fumes everywhere I go. The houses are weird though. Many of them sit up on tall legs, like giant bugs with windows for eyes. More people seem to be coming down the mountain and going up it. Lots of them zip past on bikes or skateboards, while others are jogging or just walking.
This path is longer than I thought.
I bet this is different depending on whether you come here in the morning or evening. About halfway up or so, there's a wooden bench just off the sidewalk. It's occupied by a man with dark hair and big sunglasses. The man that we're gonna get the story of this playthrough. As I'm about to pass by, he waves.
Well, hello, miss. Nice evening for a walk, eh?
Eh? Huh? Is he talking to me? He must be, because there's no one else nearby. Chatting's usually not my thing, but for the moment I appreciate the distraction.
It sure is. I'm glad the rain's gone.
Oh, for now, yeah. It's never gone for long, though, is it?
That's so. I'm new here. I didn't even think it would rain since it was so sunny the day before.
Yeah, that's what I kinda think in like New England too. The rain ain't gone for long, buddy.
Oh, you've gotta watch out for that around here. Mother Nature's real fickle these days. One minute you're on the pier, enjoying the sunshine. Next minute...
He makes a whoosh sound under his breath with a wavy motion with his hand.
Storm clouds, as far as the eye can see. That's just welly for you, though. You live with the sunshine and the clouds.
It's a kind of a deep statement if you think about it, you know?
Where are you from, then?
Very Endwalker.
You're not a Kiwi?
Nah, I'm a fox, not a bird.
The man laughs. Deep belly laugh. Like usual, I'm not sure what I said that's funny.
Not like that. Although those little guys are cute. A Kiwi is a word for us New Zealanders in general.
So it's a bird, a fruit, and people.
Head empty.
You've got it. All three are delightful.
Delightful.
Anyway, welcome to Wellington. I hope you're enjoying your time here in our little city.
So far I am. I made my den here on the mountain. I've gotten coffee a few times, and I
Thank you for the head empty. I conveniently leave out my plans for the next time I'm in the library.
Well, I can't say that's the usual tourist experience, but I'm happy to hear that it's working out for you.
Honestly,
Staying long?
if I was a tourist somewhere by myself, I'd probably do a lot of that too. Like, I probably wouldn't spend a lot of time at destinations. I would probably go out to, like, a library and maybe a park or something. Maybe find, like, a tea place. Or, like, a, oh, my therapist keeps telling me about a queer coffee shop that he wants me to go to. And fuck my ass, I need to try to remember what the name of it was. But he wants me to go there. That's the kind of thing that I would go like, if I was on a trip somewhere, I wouldn't, like, go to, like, a museum necessarily. First thing, I would want to go to some place that's kind of, like, down to earth, you know? That's what I prefer when I'm out someplace kind of far away. Unless there's like something I really want to go to. I'm not about huge tourist destinations, you know?
Probably. I decided to come live here, but I'm still getting to know the place. So, maybe I'll change my mind.
You know, maybe I am not... Maybe I'm just not interested in, like... I don't know, say, like, oh, the house that Elvis stayed, for example. I don't give a shit. And maybe, like, if it was something that I really cared about, sure, but, like, I think that when I travel, I'm not going for those things. That said, like, my dad is the one I used to travel with all the time, sort of like, it's the same story of Amber with her grandfather. Me and my dad used to travel all the time. And he was really into, like, Civil War attractions, Revolutionary War attractions, museums and stuff, and I'm not really into that. But, you know, it's fun to just go with him there. And I learn a lot from it. Yeah, I'm more for the experience of a place, exactly. Go to the foods. Yeah, the food spots are great. Like, yeah, go for the food spots. If I was in like Wellington, yeah, maybe I would go to if they had a special museum, but I would rather go to like a theater or like a really cool food place or something like that. Or God fucking forbid that the town has like a botanical garden. That said, botanical gardens are best shared with somebody that you care about deeply. They're best shared with somebody else. So remember that. I've been on a botanical garden date back in New York. And it's way better to go with somebody that you're in a relationship with than it is to go to just by yourself to like one of those places. But yeah, I'm more for the experience, not to hit up tourist destinations.
A true free spirit, eh? I felt the same way when I first got here, long time ago. Didn't think I'd settle down for life, but here I am now. Lived more years here than everywhere else in my life.
It can't be that long. You don't look very old for a human.
No? Well, that's my ego boost for the day. You don't look very old for a fox either, but I imagine you've got a good head start on me.
That's true. I don't really keep track or think about it, though.
He laughs again.
Can't say I blame you there. I think 100 years, give or take a little on either side, is enough for me. And I'm only halfway there, so I've got plenty more to look forward to.
He stands up, but has to do it slowly.
And sometimes I'm reminded of how many I've got under my belt already. Thank you for the chat, miss. I better get back to the water now, and make sure young Min hasn't fallen into the ocean or anything. It's been a real pleasure talking with you, though. I hope you'll give our fair town a shot.
Thanks. It was nice talking to you, too.
And I mean that for once. He waves goodbye as he heads down the stone steps, and I keep heading upwards. I've never really thought about my age compared to humans. Humans don't matter to my lifestyle. I wasn't lying when I said I don't know how old I am. It's never been important. Places, relationships, memories, they just tie people down. Oh, my relationships. Never mind. I want to be everywhere. I reach the top of the mountain. I take a deep breath out of the crisp air. Wind blows in my hair in every direction. I can't keep it out of my face. The wind is wild and goes where it wants. It doesn't answer to anyone. That's how I've lived my life too. If you got a cough, try some cough drops. That might help you. Maybe take your inhaler off. A free spirit, that's what the man called me, and I like the sound of it. I could see the smudges of a few people down by the beach and on the pier. Is one of them the man I just met? There's no way I know. No way to know. But from here, they're just small, tiny little blips. I'm making up words again. Impossible to tell apart from each other. Once I've had my fill of the view, it's time to get on the way again. I turn my back on the people and start making my way down once more. Alright, time for the library. I'll go ahead and, quick save. Time for the library. When the moon is high in the sky, I decide it's time. This is a perfect kind of night. I've already read the other ones, by the way, so I'm not gonna... And those ones don't lead into any special interactions. This is the perfect kind of night for me. There's not much wind, meaning I'll be able to hear or smell anyone approaching. It's a little cloudy too, which gives me some cover from the moonlight. I make my way back up to the library, stopping as soon as I'm within sight of it. I find a shadowy place to hide and watch the front for a few minutes. Like I hoped, nobody goes in or out. All the windows are dark too. I slowly creep up towards the entrance, ready to transform and flee if I have to. Nothing happens. No one tries to stop me. I peek into one of the windows. It's dark inside and I can't see anyone at all. Perfect. I move around to the back side of the building and check those windows too. Same thing. It's dark and empty.
This is gonna be too easy.
Back at the front door, I pick the lock and slip inside. I sneak from room to room, revisiting the items I memorized yesterday. They're not expensive or fancy enough to think of them as treasures. I end up leaving a lot of them alone, since I don't want to carry too much with me. The rest go into my coat pockets. Finally, I end back at the painting in the corner. The piece that started this whole plan. I have to set a couple things down on the floor because the painting needs both hands for me to lift it. For some reason, I'm thinking of the Lethal Company UI right now. It's heavier than it looks, though it's not very big. That's probably a good sign for how much it'll be worth. Wiggle. I have to jiggle it a couple of times to get it off the hook, but I manage. Tucking the painting under one arm, I pick up the other goods from the floor. This should be good enough for one night. Best to get in and out quick. I start to head back for the front door when I came in. Before I get there, light floods the room. My heart starts to race as I immediately prepare to run. A quick glance over my shoulder shows the woman from last night, standing at the top of the stairs. Her eyes are glowing blue with anger. She takes a step forward, not seeming to touch the stairs.
Leave that painting alone!
I've got to get out of here, now. Throwing caution to the wind, I clutch my spoils tight and charge for the door, trying to make myself as small a target as possible. The painting is too big for me to transform and still hold on to it, so I've got to do this on two legs.
Stop! Please!
I don't stop. Just like my arrival here with the guards at the skyport, the thrill of being chased is already taken over. It's exciting and scary at the same time, but either way it spurs me to move faster. Using my shoulder, I crash out the front door and into the night. I run as quickly as I can, keeping an eye out for patches of slick mud or puddles of water. The path I take goes far past Mount Victoria and my den, ending up in a small residential area. I stash the painting under a parked car and take the fox form and crawl under a house, upsetting a mean gray cat who is already hiding there. It makes a low growling sound and I glare at it, desperately willing it to be silent before it gives away my position. I growl back as best I can. That seems scared and shutting up. I'm not sure if I was being followed or not, but I don't want to take any chances. After 10 minutes or so, I climb out, pick up my loot, and sneak back towards my den. Now that excitement is worn off, I just can't keep a smile off my face. There's nothing more satisfying than pulling off a heist, even one as easy as this. Other thieves I've heard about just have it rough, having to stake out the place for a long time, trying really hard not to get caught, making sure not to be seen. I've never done much planning. I just do whatever feels right. My ability to transform makes it pretty hard to catch me. Although I've had to leave behind the stuff I was taking once or twice. And honestly, it would get boring if I never got caught and had to run. My good mood lasts me all the way home and then disappears completely when I see who's waiting for me. The woman in white. She stands just outside my den, looking like she doesn't care at all about the cold or mud. In fact, her perfect clothes don't seem to get dirty at all. With her back turned to me, she's staring up at the moon, but she faces me as I approach. She has that same calm presence as when I first saw her, but I can see a mournful look in her eyes, which have gone back to brown instead of a furious blue. My heart quickens, almost suffocating me, as she watches me intently. I know how quickly calm can turn to anger. Anger turned to hate, etc., etc. I should run, but I can't look away.
How did you find me here? Before I even got back?
A friend of mine told me you might be found here.
Her voice is soft and warm, unlike the way she shouted at the library.
A friend.
But who? I wasn't followed, I'm sure of that much. With the shock of being found wearing off, the realization I'll need to find a new place to stay sets in. After all that work, too.
I apologize for showing up uninvited. I'm here to ask that you please return that painting to me. You may keep the frame if you'd like, but the painting itself is very dear to me.
I looked down at the portrait. I've been carrying it for a while now, but I haven't given the picture itself much thought. It's a beautiful painting, and clearly very old. The girl shown in it is wearing a long, flowing dress, looking down with a small smile.
And also...
She breathes out slowly, and my eyes narrow. It's the sound people make when they're acting calm, but they're angry.
Should you want it, I have an extra room available in my library, with a soft bed and a warm meal. You may stay as long as you wish.
Huh?
After I just tried to rob her, she's offering me a place to stay? Okay, now I know this has to be a trap. There's no way. Although, it's the same thing she asked me last night before I broke in. I'm sure she doesn't remember that.
Why?
Because I have more beds than I could possibly fill, and more food than I could eat. If there is someone who wants or needs them, is it not appropriate to share these with them?
Is it?
I'm not sure what answer she wants to hear. She looks at me again, the same expression as it was at the library. Well, her offer does sound kind of tempting.
I guess it's not like my place is as nice as yours.
Not anymore, at least. Not after it rained and made it half mud. I looked down at the painting again. If I sold it, it was just going to be so that I could buy the same thing she's offering me. I still don't trust her. I've watched people enough to know better than that. There must be something she wants. But I don't think she wants to hurt me. She knows I don't have anything worth stealing. If she did try to pull something, I could just run away. It's only one night. I can come back and try again, or find someplace else to take for— oh my god, I dropped my stylus. I look down to the burrow past where she's standing. It looks less a den and more a pile of mud. The thought of sleeping here again practically makes the decision for me.
Fine, I'll take it.
She breathes out slowly again and smiles. Maybe that sound doesn't mean she's angry?
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. I should introduce myself properly. My name is Juliet. May I ask what yours is?
Miho.
I've had to introduce myself twice in a day now. That has to be a new record.
Well, Miho, it's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. Let's return to the library. I can carry the painting if you'd like, or you may hold on to it until we get there.
I shrug.
Here, feel free.
She receives it very gently, and I quickly fall in beside her as we begin to walk back. To my relief, she doesn't try to make any conversation. Instead, she silently cradles the painting as we go. When we get back to the library, the lights are off and the door is still unlocked. After setting the painting down on the desk, Juliet gestures towards the stairs.
It's on the second floor.
I follow her lead again until she stops at one of the closed doors. She unlocks it and lets me in. The room is simple and cozy with a couple dressers, a table, and a bed. Over the bed, there's a boxy window with a wide sill, wide enough to sit on. On the table, there's a cheese sandwich and a few apple slices, plus some sort of cake. There's also a pitcher of water. Like she's feeding a prisoner in here. Plus the cake.
I hope the food is to your liking. 2 rooms down the hall from here, you'll find a refrigerator, and you may help yourself to anything in there. My study is just past that. If you need anything, don't hesitate to come find me. Is there anything more I can bring for you?
So, I don't think we ever really clarified this, but I feel like even if Juliet doesn't remember her, she's getting enough information right now from her network that she probably knows who this is. I don't think that's ever clarified, but she probably knows this is the same person that came here last night, even if I don't remember them. And that's probably why she's so keen on this. But also Juliet is just a giving soul. And is like, hey, if there's somebody who is so poor, they have to be breaking in and stealing. Yeah. The memory of someone breaking or trying to sleep in there is still there. But just not who. Right? I was gonna make a reference to something, but it would be Dawn Trail spoilers. I SMH my head, still in disbelief. What am I even supposed to say in a situation like this? I just stole from her and now I have both a bed and food in return? As if to answer my confusion, she gives a small smile. Calm smile. It doesn't help.
Then I'll leave you to it. We can speak again in the morning. Good night, Miho.
Door shuts behind her and I expect to hear Juliet lock it. But when I try the knob and after giving a few moments, the door opens quietly into a dark hall. Juliet's nowhere to be seen. I pull the door back shut behind me and inspect the room, looking for any hidden threats. I also check the food, sniffing it to make sure there's no poison or anything. If there is, I can't smell it, and so I dig in instead.
Whoa. This is really good.
There's 3 different kinds of cheese in the sandwich, which is 2 more kinds than I knew existed. The bread is soft and buttery. When I take a bite of the apple, juice rolls down my chin. Damn, apple eating slut. That reminds me, I need to drink some water. And have the water roll down my chin. 1 second here. Nobody has given a single hydrate command this entire stream. Can you believe that? The water that I wash it down with tastes better than the water from the stream by my dad. When I'm done eating, I climb into bed, still feeling overwhelmed. More specifically, not knowing how to feel. Part of me fears that I've made some gigantic mistake, and that I'll wake up in danger, if I even wake up at all. Trusting my instincts has kept me alive on multiple occasions and for hundreds of years. Enough that I've lost count of exactly how many. But something tells me I don't have anything to fear from the woman who I can only assume is my host and owner of this place. So with that in mind, I pull the blankets up to my chin and adjust the luxurious pillows beneath my head. Who knows? Maybe the morning will bring trouble with it. But right now, just sleeping sounds alright. I wake up to the sound of birds chirping loudly outside. Blinking wearily, I prop myself up and look towards the warm sunlight beaming through the window. The sheets under my hand feel soft and dry. My hand goes to my neck, taking in the smooth familiarity of my necklace.
It's still here.
If someone was going to rob me, that's the only thing that I have that would seem valuable. I sit up and look around. It doesn't look like anyone came in when I was asleep. Maybe I really am safe here. I wonder if Juliet's friend was the scent I noticed outside my den on the first morning. I don't know how else she could have found me, or how they did it without waking me up. If it happened before, it could happen again, as much as I hate to admit it. So I check around the room very thoroughly, but still don't notice anything different from when I went to bed.
Maybe it's not a trick.
All my past experiences have told me that there has to be a catch. Nothing is free. Nothing. But no matter how hard I try, I can't figure out what it could be. Could Juliet really have been telling the truth? It just seems so unlikely. It'd be nice if it was true. But if it wasn't, if I let myself believe, only to be wrong in the end, then that would hurt even more, wouldn't it? No. Better not even take the risk. After all, I've lived a lot of years this way. And it's not like I hate it. Making my mind up helps me feel better right away, too. It just makes more sense. Even if I tried to stay, I don't think I'd ever stop worrying. This way, I'll know for sure that I'm in charge of my own destiny. Now that I know this room is unoccupied, I might be able to sneak back in sometimes when I need a place to stay. It wouldn't be too hard to climb on one of the trees and get into the window from here. I take one last look around. For just a night, it was a nice what if. Then I head downstairs and out the door without speaking a word to anyone. It's another nice day, the same as when I first arrived in Wellington. Warm sun and blue skies, with just a hint of clouds. For a while I meander around town, eating the last of my pastries from the convenience store hall for breakfast. Today feels like another restart. I have no den, no supplies, no anything. It's less exciting now than when I first arrived. I don't have a destination in mind, but eventually end up at the waterfront. There's an airship over the bay, descending closer towards the skyport. A couple kids down on the beach wave up at it, seeming excited. The people arriving on that ship all have somewhere that they're planning to go when they get off, huh? Oops. They've all got people waiting to see them. What have I got? Some trash in an old school? So far, Wellington's giving me nothing but questions. Never bothered me before in any of the other cities I've been to, so why now? Guess that's another question for the bio. I push myself off the railing and head back into town. I go through the motions of scouting for somewhere to rebuild my den, but my heart really isn't into it. After wandering for a while, I end up at the Bell House yet again. It's just the place I go when I have nowhere else to go. There are more customers than usual, so there are 2 people working behind the counter. It only takes a brief glance to notice that one of them is Aspen. I wonder if she'll think I'd like a fairy kiss chiller again. Or maybe I'll make a different sort of first impression today. The line moves pretty quickly, and it helps that Aspen doesn't spill anything this time. When it's my turn to order, I step up to the counter with a fake smile.
Oh, hello! What can I make for you today?
I'll have a fairy kiss chiller, please.
Certainly. Good choice.
I reach for my wallet to pay, but she stops me.
Oh, don't worry about that. It's on the house today.
Great! What does that mean?
It means that you don't have to pay for it. As an apology for yesterday.
There's only one person who ordered a fairy kiss chiller yesterday. Yesterday? Why does that sound so strange? I nearly miss her talking, my mind having tripped over the word. She reaches for a cup, the pen already in her hand.
And that's for Miho, right?
For Miho?
My name? She remembers my name? My heart begins to race wildly, my body reacting just as strongly as my mind. I bet for some people, they'd have this reaction even if they weren't a Gumio. Aspen frowns, clearly noticing that something's off. My head's in too much of a daze to deal with it, though. Actually, I know, Ralph, you kind of had that thing when I remembered you like 2 months later, right?
It is Miho, right?
She checks a notebook on the counter, brow furrowing deeply as her finger slowly moves down the page and taps on one of the lines. What do I say? How do I explain? That for the first time in my life, for the first time in hundreds of years, somebody's remembered my name? It's not supposed to be like this. I'm supposed to be forgotten. Every time, without fail. It's my armor. It's my life. I take a step backwards. I have to run. I have to get out of here. I have to get away. But where to? I've just been running. And I don't have anywhere else to run to. But I don't have any other choice. Without a plan or destination, I turn on my heel and bolt outside, not daring to look back. Everything is wrong. I have to go.
Miho!
She calls my name again as I disappear onto the street. It's not the first time I've heard that as I fled. But never like this. Never with such a confused, worried tone. Feeling sick to my stomach, I push myself to run even faster. Maybe I should just leave this whole city, get on the next airship out of here and act like it never happened. I could go somewhere else, back to China or America or anywhere, and start over again. Within days, it'd feel like I never even came to Wellington. My life would go back to normal, and eventually I'm sure Aspen or Juliet would forget me, just like they were supposed to. Nothing would be different. Except that's not quite true. I wouldn't forget what happened here, even if everyone else did. No matter what, I'm sure I won't ever be able to get it out the past few days out of my mind. When I get to Mount Victoria, I finally stop running. Not because this place is special or because I wanted to come here. Because I don't know where else to go. I make my way up to the top of the mountain, just like I did on my first day. The view, which I admired so much last time, doesn't do much for me now. Instead, the city looks cluttered and confused from up here. My chest hurts from running for so long. I'm much more used to a quick burst of sprinting to get away from something or someone. I guess that's what I'm trying to do now. But I'm not too sure that is what I'm running from. What it is that I'm running from. Whenever something goes wrong, my first instinct is to flee. Aspen remembering me definitely counts as something wrong. But when I stop to think why, some of the reasons are obvious. Mostly, what if it's not just Aspen? What if everybody can remember me now? Or even worse, what if people who forgot about me a long time ago start remembering me? Both could get me in a lot of trouble. My days as a thief would probably be over. There are some places that I could never show my face again. The smart thing to do is to leave. I could even see a couple airships at the skyport right now. I have everything with me. I could just go. There's nothing keeping me here. And yet, I don't move. I still don't know what it is I'd be running away from. From Aspen? From Wellington? When I think about it, I have to admit that running wouldn't get me anywhere. This worry, these questions would follow me wherever I go. No matter how far and no matter how long. So then what do I do? The only answer I can think is the scariest one. The one that goes against everything I've ever learned. Closing my eyes, I picture the library and Juliet's offer. I picture Aspen, who I barely know, but who's already changed my life. Maybe I should stay and try to find out more. Maybe. Just maybe. Being remembered might not be all bad. I clench my fists so tightly my knuckles turn white. The urge to turn tail and head for the skyport is so strong, it's almost like a magnet pulling me there. I resist it though. Slowly, I walk back down the mountain, making my way to the library. I'm not sure what to say when I get there. Explain everything to Juliet and hope she'll let me stay in the room again? I don't even need the room. I could rebuild my den and hide out there. Maybe in a new spot, one that Juliet doesn't know about. Not having to worry about the weather or other animals would be nice, though. There's no telling if Juliet will remember me too. If not, it might be easier to pretend that this is my first time visiting and just ask if there's anywhere I could stay. Even though I'm not moving very fast, I still don't feel ready for this conversation by the time I reach the library's entrance. It's only been an hour or so since I left the Bell House, so it's not late enough for the library to be closed. The usual stream of people flows in and out the doors.
Okay, I can do this.
I wonder how my first performance of this sounded compared to my second performance of this. Because I still caught myself a couple of times, but my first performance of this was actually quite dramatic, I felt. I stand off to the side of the entrance, preparing myself as people pass to and from. My heart is racing the same way it does during a tense break-in, maybe even harder. My tail twitches back and forth. Usually I don't notice, but right now I'm super aware of everything about myself. Fighting off my instincts, I open the door and let myself inside. I've been expecting to look for Juliet, but instead she's right by the entrance. What surprises me most, however, is a woman leaning against a large desk beside her. Aspen, who's now engaged in conversation with a look of deep concern on her face.
There when I checked the bedroom. I wish she would have spoken to me first, at least.
I barely catch the end of Juliet's sentence. She notices me only moments after I spot her, and for a second her mouth forms a perfect O in surprise.
Juliet? What are you...
Aspen turns around to follow Juliet's gaze, her eyes opening wide at the sight of me.
Miho!
My brain goes blank, rehearsed lines flying out of my head.
Hey there.
I sink over to where they're standing, hands in my pockets, unsure what I should say first.
It's nice to see you again, Miho. I was hoping that you'd return.
Me too. That was pretty sudden. I worked extra hard on that drink for you, you know.
I freeze up, looking for the words. Aspen's expression softens in concern.
Miho? Alright, the drink. I'm sorry.
Well, I ended up drinking it myself, so I suppose I can't complain too much.
She laughs, and I can't stop myself from blurting out my next words.
You seem different.
I'm sorry?
Like... less polite?
Well, I'm not at work anymore, am I?
What am I even saying? What was I planning on saying again?
Will you be staying for a while, Miho? If so, we can continue this conversation in the dining room. It's a bit more private there.
Juliet takes charge of the conversation effortlessly, and I accidentally sigh in relief.
Yeah, sure. That sounds great. I'm not gonna run away again.
I'm glad to hear that. Right this way, then.
Juliet leads the way down the hall into one of the locked rooms. We enter a cozy little room with a table and a few chairs, as well as a fridge. 3 of us sit down, although I move my chair so I'm not so close to the others.
Can I get you anything to eat or drink, Miho?
I SMH my head. I'm hungry, but I'm way too nervous to eat. Juliet smiles in response to my answer, which came just a little too quickly to sound natural. By the way both she and Aspen are looking at me, I can tell they're expecting me to say something first. None of the words that I planned are coming back to me. What do people even say in a situation like this? The temptation to run away is overwhelming, the door just a few feet behind me. My knuckles whiten as I tightly clench my fists in my lap, pushing myself to resist the urge. I told myself I'm going to take this chance. Even if it's the hardest thing I've ever done, I'm going to be honest with them.
Well...
I struggle to think of what to say. Juliet waits patiently, her eyes gazing coolly in my direction, more than directly at mine. Aspen soon grows restless, however, her expression clouded with concern.
Sorry. I don't know how to just... say things. I've only ever never copied other people's, so I...
Aspen's expression clears up in some sort of understanding.
It's okay, Miho. Take your time.
So I... don't really know how to... talk like this.
You're doing just fine.
Juliet is so damn encouraging. Especially for them essentially just meeting, but I think, I don't know, she can, she's a very giving person. She's lived through a lot, and I think that Juliet just, like, sees everybody with a layer of respect and understanding that not everybody has, you know? Having lived through so many lives, seen so many people die, you know? It's a kind of rare wisdom that you see in her. And it kind of rubs off on Aspen.
If you say so. It's not just talking either. I don't know much about anything. Well, anything human. All I really know about is being a fox. And all we foxes care about is how to survive. It might be hard to believe, but I'm not a normal fox
The crack of my
either.
neck.
There's something kind of special about me. Kind of different.
I finger the beads around my neck. Your constant warmth and presence is reassuring. I avoid looking at either Aspen or Juliet's face. What else?
Usually, I have to steal to get by. I don't just have to, I like to. I'm good at it too. That's how I ended up meeting Juliet. And the reason I'm so good at it is because I don't know why it happens, but ever since I got my human form, everyone forgets me. Even the people who catch me stealing from them. After a day or two, I can walk right past their face and they wouldn't even recognize me. No one has ever recognized me. Until Aspen remembered who I was at the Bell House. It was such a shock that I ran away. That's what I always do. I was thinking about leaving Wellington forever. Even though I just arrived a couple days ago. I'm still kind of tempted. But instead, I came back here. And that's it.
Just hearing. Oh my god, my voice is like giving out right now. Oh my god. Take a drink of water, you idiot. Alright. Just hearing the words coming out of my mouth makes me want to die of embarrassment. Makes me uncomfortable when other people think about me. And yet, putting everything out there feels surprisingly good. It feels like a weight has come off my shoulders. There's no going back now, and that's a relief in its own way.
So you're saying that you've never ever had a family? Or a friend?
Nope, never. And not since I stopped being a regular fox, at least.
Oh. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Why?
Well, because that's... not to be rude, but that sounds rather lonely to me.
Lonely, huh? I've never thought about it before.
I see.
Aspen sits back, still looking concerned. From the way she keeps fidgeting, I get the impression she wants to say more but is holding back. Juliet swoops in to salvage the situation.
You have been very brave to stay here, Miho. I'm personally glad that you decided to come back to the library. I had your room prepared in hopes that you would. You're welcome to use it for as long as you'd like. I think that we could become great friends.
Roommates, even.
Friends.
I roll the word around in my mind as if it were a strange food I'm gingerly trying. Is that a word that fits me? Is that something I could have? It's never seemed like a possibility before. None of what Juliet's offered me has. Right now it feels like I'm standing at the end of one path and the beginning of another. I could turn around and go back the way I came. Back to the den and life spent alone. I know that world. I've lived in it for so many years. But I can't just go back. Not now. Not when there can be something more. Something new. Everything could be different if I just let it. When I look at Aspen and Juliet, I can tell what they're hoping I'll say.
I think I'd like that.
Big smiles take over both their faces. Slowly, I let myself smile too.
Well then, Miho. Welcome home.
Gonna bring tears to my eyes here, man. Please be happy. Chapter 2, A Life Worth Living. That's where I'm gonna save for today. There's a menu here. Save. I have to save down here. Chapter 2. Oh, okay, so that's Chapter 2, day 6. Okay. So actually, I would have skipped a lot if I went to there. But it should only be like a couple of hours, probably, to get back to the first divergence in the path. Plus, I'm gonna be talking with What's-His-Face. So there is stuff that I haven't done yet. Got the warrior weapon from EX1. I'm glad. I'm glad to hear that. Please be happy. Alright, let me find you someone to ride here. Thank y'all for coming by tonight. I'm turning into a bit of Juliet tonight. Oh, John's playing right now, huh? Why don't I go send y'all over to John then? John got his new model the day Dawn Trail came out, actually. Currently playing through Dawn Trail. It looks like he's doing the caster role quest right now. Is he? Okay, I think he's back to the 4th zone. So if you're not there and you don't want to get any spoilers, I don't think he's in a really spoilery part right now. Make sure you go say hi to John. Wish him luck. If you don't want to stick around, don't feel the need to. I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know if I don't know if I want to do this or Final Fantasy X tomorrow, but it'll most likely be Final Fantasy X. You can always check my Twitter. I'll have it up on the Twitter or maybe in Discord. So thank you all so much for joining today. Thank you again for following. Zeke followed me yesterday. I didn't get to congratulate him. And Cypher VT, thank you for following today. I hope you have a lovely rest of your night. I hope you guys have fun over at John's channel. If you haven't seen his new model yet, give him some love. It's a cute, scruffy little white cat thing. And it's lovely. So I hope to see you all tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your evening, y'all.